What does it really take to build a billion-dollar empire in America? For some, it's inheritance. For others, a lucky invention. But for a select few, it started with a dream, an unstoppable work ethic, and a deep connection to their Mexican heritage. They came to America with next to nothing and built everything. Today, their empires are worth billions. Their influence reshapes entire industries, and their stories are proof that the American dream, in its purest and most ambitious form, is very much alive. From the dusty shelves of a neighborhood grocery store to the gleaming boardrooms of Wall Street, from the sun-scorched fields of northern Mexico to the owner's box of a major American sports team, these are the families who turned their cultural identity into a competitive advantage. They didn't just make fortunes in America, they fundamentally changed the American landscape. So how did a man who crossed the border every day just for school build a real estate empire reportedly worth billions? How did one family turn their ancestral drink into a global phenomenon with America as its biggest fan? And who is the titan, once richer than entire nations, whose companies quietly influence the daily lives of tens of millions of Americans? We're counting down 10 of the wealthiest families of Mexican descent who have built empires and fortunes in the United States. These are the surprising, untold stories behind the billion-dollar dynasties. Kicking off our list at number 10 is a family whose name is a household staple for millions in Mexico and is now strategically stretching its arms into the United States, the Coppel family. With a combined family net worth in the billions and siblings like Enrique and Ruben Coppel-Lucan holding fortunes around $2.4 billion and $1.9 billion respectively, the Coppels have built a retail and banking juggernaut. Their story isn't about Silicon Valley tech or Wall Street wizardry. It's an empire built on providing goods and credit to the working class, a model they're now carefully deploying in the American market. The dynasty's origin goes back to 1941, when Enrique Coppel Tamayo opened a tiny shop in Mazatlan, Sinaloa, called El Regalo, selling radios and watches. It was a humble start, a world away from the sprawling department stores that bear his name today. But his sons saw a deeper need in their community. After World War II, most customers couldn't afford to pay up front. So the Coppel brothers made a pivotal choice. They started offering credit. This simple decision transformed their shop into Coppel, a department store where customers could buy furniture, appliances, and clothing on a payment plan. This idea, trusting their customers, became the bedrock of their empire. For decades, Grupo Coppel's growth was a Mexican sensation, expanding to over 1,000 stores and becoming a one-stop shop for everything from smartphones to sneakers. But they didn't just sell things, they became a financial institution. Their Ban Coppel division offered banking services and loans, often to people overlooked by traditional banks. The family got rich by intimately understanding and serving a massive, aspirational middle and working class. The American chapter of the Coppel story is more recent but reveals their strategy. Recognizing the huge and growing Hispanic population in the US, the family began expanding north. They didn't try to compete head-on with Walmart or Target. Instead, they focused on the unique needs of the community they knew best. They set up shop in border states and areas with large Latino populations, offering retail, financial services, and money transfers, a vital link for many immigrant families. While their US presence is still just a foothold compared to their dominance in Mexico, the Coppels represent a class of entrepreneurs who see the two countries not as separate markets, but as one interconnected economic ecosystem. Coming in at number 9 is one of Mexico's most powerful and controversial business dynasties, the Salinas Pliego family, led by the patriarch Ricardo Salinas Pliego. With a formidable net worth of around $13.4 billion, Ricardo Salinas Pliego runs Grupo Salinas, a sprawling conglomerate in retail, media, and banking that is deeply intertwined with the United States. The Salinas Pliego story is one of aggressive expansion and a sharp eye for the financial needs of the masses. a strategy that has made them billionaires in Mexico and a strategic player in the cross-border economy. The family's commercial roots go back a century, but it was Ricardo who built the modern empire. In 1987, he took over Grupo Electra, a retailer founded by his grandfather. Inspired by the Coppel family's success, he supercharged the model of selling to the working class on credit. But his true masterstroke was integrating financial services directly into his stores. He launched Banco Azteca in 2002, placing bank branches inside Electra stores. This was revolutionary, providing banking and credit to millions of previously unbanked customers and creating a massive, loyal customer base. At the same time, Salinas Pliego built a media empire. In 1993, he bought a network of struggling government-owned TV stations and created TV Azteca, taking on the media giant Televisa. This media arm was his most visible entry into the US with Azteca America, a network tailored to the Mexican-American audience. While Azteca America ceased its over-the-air broadcasts in 2022, the venture established the Salinas Pliego name as a cross-border media player. However, the family's most potent American influence is financial. Banco Azteca is a major player in the remittance market, the billions of dollars Mexican immigrants in the US send home. By offering these services in stores on both sides of the border, the Salinas Pliego family has embedded itself into the financial lifeblood of the Mexican-American community. Ricardo Salinas Pliego, known for his combative social media presence, represents a modern tycoon whose influence and wealth can't be contained by one border. At number 8, we have a story of two powerful families, linked by marriage, whose empires place a staple of Mexican culture onto dinner tables across America. This is the story of the Hank Ron family and the Gonzalez Barrera family. With key figures like Carlos Hank Ron holding a net worth of around $4.4 billion from banking, and the family of the late Roberto Gonzalez Barrera controlling a global food empire, their combined influence is immense. It's their quiet dominance of the American kitchen that earns them a spot on this list. The food empire's legacy was forged by Roberto Gonzalez Barrera, who co-founded a small corn flour mill in 1949. That company was Gruma. Gonzalez's innovation was simple but revolutionary. He industrialized the process of making masa by creating a dry corn flour, maseca, that could be shipped and prepared just by adding water. He transformed how tortillas were made, first in Mexico, then the world. The American chapter began in the 1970s. As the Mexican-American population grew, so did the demand for authentic food. Gruma opened its first U.S. tortilla plant in 1977 and launched the brand that would soon be everywhere, Mission Foods. It was a strategic masterstroke. While others sold Americanized versions of Mexican food, Mission focused on authenticity and scale. Today, Mission Foods is a dominant force in the US, and its products are in virtually every supermarket. But the dynasty's influence doesn't stop there. Carlos Hank Ron, who is married to the daughter of Gruma's founder, is a titan of finance in his own right. He is the chairman of Grupo Financiero Banorte, one of Mexico's largest banks. This dual power in food and finance gives the linked families incredible stability. Every time an American family enjoys a taco night with Mission tortillas, they're participating in the legacy of a Mexican visionary who turned a humble corn pancake into a billion-dollar American enterprise. Number 7 is the richest woman in Mexico, a titan of industry who forged her own path after inheriting a stake in one of the most iconic brands to ever come out of Mexico. This is Maria Asuncion Aramburu Zabala, a name synonymous with ambition, intelligence, and the global conquest of Mexican beer. With a staggering net worth of around $6.3 billion, she represents a dynasty whose fortune is forever tied to America's love for a cold bottle of Corona. Her family story begins with her grandfather, a Spanish immigrant who co-founded Grupo Modelo in 1925. For decades, the company brewed beer for the Mexican market, including two future stars, Corona Extra and Modelo Especial. Maria's life changed forever in 1995 with the sudden death of her father. At just 32, along with her mother and sister, she inherited a massive stake in the company. In a male-dominated world, many expected the Tres Marias to sell their shares and retreat. They did the exact opposite. Maria Asunción, or Maria Sun, stepped up. With a sharp mind and an iron will, she took her seat on Grupo Modelo's board and proved to be a brilliant strategist. She helped guide the company's aggressive international expansion, with the main target being the United States. Corona, with its brilliant marketing, the clear bottle, the lime, the beach paradise vibe, became more than a beer. It became a lifestyle brand, an escape in a bottle. It became one of the best-selling imported beers in American history, and the Aramburu-Zabala family's wealth soared. The climax came in 2013 when beverage giant Anheuser-Busch InBev acquired Grupo Modelo for a jaw-dropping $20.1 billion. Aramburu-Zabala reaped a multi-billion-dollar windfall, but again she defied expectations. Instead of retiring, she took her fortune and multiplied it through her investment firm, Tresalia Capital. She diversified into telecommunications, real estate and technology, and now sits on the board of global corporations like L'Oreal. Her story is the ultimate tale of a Mexican fortune made in America. She didn't just inherit a business. She leveraged its appeal to the American market into a personal empire, making her one of the most powerful businesswomen in the world. Our number 6 entry is maybe the purest American dream story on our list. It's a narrative that feels like it was written for Hollywood, but it's the real life of Fernando de Leon. This is a man who turned daily border crossings as a child into a fortune reportedly worth nearly $3 billion. As the founder of the Dallas-based Leon Capital Group, De Leon embodies the relentless grit and bicultural advantage that defines the Mexican-American success story. Fernando de Leon's story starts at the US-Mexico border. He was the youngest of 6 and the only one born in a US hospital, a choice his mother made to give him American citizenship. While his family lived in poverty in Matamoros, Mexico, young Fernando would cross the border every day to attend school in Brownsville, Texas. He says his daily commute wasn't a hardship, it became his superpower. It gave him fluency in 2 languages, 2 cultures, and 2 ways of seeing the world. As he puts it, "I got lucky. I'm an American citizen. They were not. That changes the whole game." This unique upbringing gave him a ferocious work ethic and a perspective that would define his investment philosophy. He understood the needs and aspirations of the growing Latino population in America more intimately than any ivory tower hedge fund guy, as he calls them. In 2006, he founded Leon Capital Group, focusing on real estate in fast-growing areas with booming Latino populations like Dallas and Phoenix. He knew these communities would need healthcare clinics, retail centers, and housing. His strategy was to buy the real estate and then build the businesses the community needed from the ground up. His empire quickly grew into a vast portfolio of operating companies in healthcare, beauty, and insurance. Fernando de Leon is famously proud of his origins. In a Forbes profile, he joked, "I'm what Donald Trump calls an anchor baby, but a high tax-paying anchor baby." His story is a powerful reminder of how a mother's decision to cross a border can change a family's destiny. These stories are just incredible, right? Journeys of vision, resilience, and pure determination. Before we get to our top 5, if you're finding these tales of empire building as fascinating as we are, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss the titans at the top of our list. Now, let's get back to the countdown. At number 5 is a family whose name is synonymous with celebration, heritage, and the spirit of Mexico itself. This is the Beckman family, the owners of the world's most famous tequila, José Cuervo, with key figures like Juan Domingo Beckman Legorreta holding a net worth of around $4.6 billion. This dynasty turned a family birthright into a global beverage empire, with the US as its most profitable market. The story of José Cuervo is the story of tequila. The family's legacy dates back to 1758, when José Antonio de Cuervo was granted land in Tequila, Jalisco, to cultivate agave. By 1795, the family had the first official license to commercially produce tequila. For over 250 years and 11 generations, the family has been crafting tequila, making José Cuervo the oldest active distillery in Latin America. For most of that time, tequila was a regional drink. That all changed in the 20th century. The Beckmans, descendants of the Cuervo line, knew that to go global, they had to conquer America. Their timing was perfect. The margarita cocktail became a sensation in the US, and José Cuervo was the tequila of choice. The brand became associated with fun, parties, and a taste of Mexican sunshine. Today, the United States is, by a huge margin, the largest tequila market in the world, consuming more of the spirit than Mexico itself. The Beckman family's wealth is a direct reflection of this American obsession. Their company, Beckley, SABDCV, went public in 2017, cementing their status among the world's wealthiest. The Beckman dynasty is a fascinating mix of old world heritage and new world marketing. They didn't just sell tequila, they sold the idea of tequila, a spirit of celebration now deeply embedded in American culture. At number 4, we have a man who is a living embodiment of the American dream. This is Arturo Arte Moreno, the first Mexican-American to own a major American sports team. With a net worth estimated by Forbes to be around $4.8 billion, Moreno's story is a powerful narrative of a son of Mexican immigrants who rose to the highest ranks of American business and culture. Arte Moreno was born in Tucson, Arizona, the eldest of 11 children. His beginnings were modest. After high school, he was drafted into the Army and served in the Vietnam War. When he returned, he used the GI Bill to get a marketing degree from the University of Arizona. That combination of military discipline and business education would be the foundation for his spectacular success. His career started in advertising, where he learned the billboard industry inside and out. He joined a small company called Outdoor Systems and, through brilliant strategic moves, rose to become CEO. In 1996, he took the company public. Its value soared. Just 2 years later, he orchestrated its sale to Infinity Broadcasting for a jaw-dropping $8 billion, a move that made him a billionaire. Moreno could have retired. Instead, he chased a lifelong passion: baseball. In 2003, he did something that had never been done before. He bought the Anaheim Angels baseball team from the Walt Disney Company for about $184 million. He didn't just buy a team, he shattered a barrier, becoming the first person of Hispanic descent to own a major US pro sports franchise. As an owner, he invested in the team, lowered beer prices at the stadium, and was famously hands-on. The team's value has since skyrocketed to over $2 billion. Arte Moreno's journey, from a working-class kid in Tucson to a Vietnam vet, a billboard mogul and the owner of a beloved American institution, is a testament to his perseverance and proof that the American dream is open to anyone willing to work for it. Our number 3 entry represents the modern, high-finance version of the American dream. He is a Mexican-born, American-educated visionary who built his empire not with bricks or beverages, but with intellectual property and complex finance. Meet Pablo Legorreta, the founder of Royalty Pharma. With a fortune estimated in the billions, Legorreta is one of the most successful Mexican-born entrepreneurs in the US. having built his entire fortune in the sophisticated world of American pharmaceutical investment. Born in Mexico City, Pablo Legorreta moved to the US for his education and started his career in investment banking. While focusing on healthcare, he had a brilliant, game-changing idea. He saw that the pharma industry had a unique asset: royalties. Small biotech companies would license a promising new drug to a pharma giant for development and marketing. In return, the giant would pay a royalty, a percentage of the drug's future sales, back to the inventor. Legorreta realized these royalty streams were predictable, long-term assets. But the small companies that held them often needed cash now to fund new research. In 1996, he founded Royalty Pharma with a revolutionary model. He would buy these future royalty streams for a lump sum of cash. It was a win-win, and it was pure genius. Based in New York City, Royalty Pharma became the pioneer in this new niche. Legorreta and his team became experts at evaluating the science and potential of new drugs, acquiring royalty rights on dozens of major medications for everything from cancer to diabetes. In 2020, he took Royalty Pharma public in a massive IPO, cementing his status as a multi-billionaire. He didn't invent a new drug, he invented a new way to finance the invention of all drugs. Pablo Legorreta proves that in modern America, the greatest fortunes can be built with a visionary idea and the audacity to create a whole new market. Coming in at number 2 is a family whose immense wealth is pulled from the very earth itself. This is the Larrea family, the dynasty behind the mining and infrastructure conglomerate Grupo Mexico. Led by the intensely private Germán Larrea Mota Velasco, whose family fortune is estimated at a colossal $33 billion, this is an empire of copper, railways, and oil rigs. While their power is based in Mexico, a massive and strategically vital part of their empire lies within the United States. The empire's foundations were laid by Germany's father, Jorge Larrea, Mexico's copper king. But it was German who transformed the company into a global powerhouse. His defining moment came in the 1990s when he acquired formerly state-owned mining assets, including Cananea, one of the largest copper deposits in North America. This made Grupo Mexico a top copper producer on the planet. But Larrea's ambition didn't stop at the border. To be a true global player, he needed a major American presence. In 1999, Grupo Mexico acquired Asarco, a historic American mining and smelting company. It was a bold move. A Mexican company taking over a major piece of America's industrial infrastructure. The acquisition was challenging, but Larrea prevailed. Today, Asarco's mines in Arizona and Texas are a critical component of the family's cross-border empire, supplying vital copper for American industry. The Larrea family's U.S. interests also include railways in Texas and Florida, creating a seamless logistics network across the continent. Germán Larrea himself is a figure of mystique, famously reclusive and a silent, powerful force in the American economy. And now at number 1, the undisputed titan, a man whose name is synonymous with wealth on a global scale and whose empire is so deeply woven into the American economy that millions use his services every day without knowing it. This is Carlos Slim Helú and his family. With a breathtaking net worth of over $100 billion, he's not just the richest man in Mexico, but one of the wealthiest people on the planet. The scale of his American holdings makes him the most powerful person of Mexican descent with an empire in the United States. Carlos Slim's story is legendary. The son of Lebanese immigrants to Mexico, he learned business from his father at a young age. His strategy has always been to buy undervalued assets during a crisis and hold them, earning him the nickname the Warren Buffett of Mexico. His masterstroke was buying Telmex, the state-owned telephone monopoly, in 1990. This became the foundation for América Móvil, the telecom behemoth that dominates Latin America. But the American dimension of his empire is staggering. For years, Carlos Slim was the largest single shareholder of the New York Times Company, providing a crucial investment during the 2008 financial crisis. But his most impactful US venture was in telecom. Through America Movil, Slim owned TracFone Wireless, building it into the largest prepaid mobile provider in the US with over 20 million subscribers. In 2021, Slim sold TracFone to Verizon in a massive deal worth over $6 billion in cash and stock, proof of the American mobile empire he had built. His influence doesn't stop there. Through his conglomerate Grupo Carso, the Slim family has held stakes in major American retailers like Saks Fifth Avenue and owns significant real estate in New York and Beverly Hills. Carlos Slim is more than a billionaire. He is a geopolitical economic force. The story of his family is one of unparalleled ambition and strategic genius, making him, without a doubt, the head of the richest Mexican family in America. From the accessible retail of the Koppel family to the global dominance of Carlos Slim, the stories of these 10 families paint a vivid picture of ambition, resilience, and cultural power in business. They challenge our perceptions of wealth and success. We see the classic American dream in Fernando de Leon, who literally walked across a border to a new destiny. We see the power of heritage in the Beckman family, who turned their ancestral spirit into an American staple. And we see the future of fortune building in the intellectual empire of Pablo Legorreta. These dynasties used their bicultural understanding to spot opportunities others missed. They served the booming Hispanic community with an authenticity corporate America is still trying to replicate. They turned Mexican staples, tortillas, tequila, television, into billion-dollar American businesses. And in the case of titans like Larrea and Slim, they operate on a scale so massive their companies are critical to the American industrial and technological landscape. These journeys prove the connection between Mexico and the United States isn't just about politics. It's about shared culture, intertwined economies, and people. They show that having a foot in both worlds isn't a disadvantage. It's a profound strategic advantage. Which of these family stories surprised you the most? Was it the rags to riches tale of the border crosser or the quiet dominance of the Copper King? Let us know in the comments below. And for more deep dives into the empires of the world's most successful people, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Thanks for watching.